Well, fellas, it's been too long, I think, since I was able to sit down and talk with you. My apologies about that. I had two grandparents die and had a lot of health issues ramp up here and there, but you know what? It doesn't matter. What does matter is that we take the time to teach our children the best that we can about everything that we can. I feel pretty blessed. I've got three kids that are just about grown. Well, two that are, and one that's almost 17. And I got two what I call my littles. They're 2 and 4. And well, I love all five of my children. I'm gonna be honest with you. I love all five of them. Hurts me every day that my oldest daughter's married and moved away. It takes me about 7 hours to get to her, but man, I think of her every day. And my kids, even grown, they still call and ask me questions. And my 16, almost 17-year-old son he asks me questions quite often about what it takes to do things in life, to overcome and to be successful in whatever he does, whether it be in his schoolwork or whether it be in the involvement he does at church or whatever else. And again, I know everybody's not into church or religion, and I understand that, but a lot of times it's our beliefs that build us and strengthen us and guide us. We talk about having good morals, and good morals, well, the good morals that we find come from the Bible. That's where they come from. And that's hard to adjust in this day and age with so many people wanting to do everything their own way. I don't want my son to do everything his own way. I want him to do things right. And there's a difference in that. I don't believe in your truth and my truth. I believe there's one truth. If I tell you the sky's black, you know it ain't black. It's blue. We all know that. The grass is green. It's how it is. If your truth is the grass is pink, I don't care because it's not truth. It's not real. And we're making this little video today because I've had some questions from some other people that I've been talking with here and there. Some of them I do a little counseling for and stuff like that. And, they want to know what's real. And gentlemen, you need to be real with your kids. You need to tell them the honest truth, and you need to tell them how things are. There's certain parts of my background that I don't explain to my children. I don't explain to them about my military background. They know I was in the Marines, but they know I don't really talk about it too much. It's not that I'm ashamed of my service by any means. It's just certain things that they don't need to know, But as my children have gotten older, especially my son, because he asks questions, I've begun to start giving him more information about that past life and about things of it. Mainly because now he's old enough to handle those answers. He's old enough to understand those answers and to understand that people change as we go through life. Too many times we cover over things and we skip it because we don't want our truth, as people call it, to come out. Well, again, we can't be ashamed of our mistakes. Do mistakes happen? To every single one of us. We make mistakes. But that doesn't change our reality. Just because we've done something wrong or something that we shouldn't have done does not mean that it changes us internally on who we are. It means we made a bad choice, a bad decision. We went the wrong direction for a little while. That's okay. That's part of us growing. It's part of learning, regardless of how old we are. Whether you're in your 20s and you're starting out with your first child, or whether you're in your 30s and you've got a couple and you're having struggles trying to relate to them, whether you're in your 40s and you've got grown kids and teenagers and you're battling that point of life where they all think that you're dumb. We all make our mistakes. Thankfully, I've got children now that are old enough that I'm no longer dumb, and my wife's not dumb anymore. Now they see us as a valuable source of information, and that's a shock from the way they were for 4 or 5 years as teenagers and in that early 20s, and so it just is what it is. But are we real? And how do you get real? That's a problem so many people have is, well, how do I get real? How do I make those connections? Well, first and foremost, always remember that your children are not your friend. Not yet. Your children are your children. You need to guide them. You need to direct them. You need to discipline them. You always must have that correction. But eventually, when they get old enough they're going to transition into being your friend, and you're going to be a very valuable friend because they know that you'll always be honest and direct, and you'll give them the answers that they need and not necessarily the answers that they want. And that's what it's about, to be real. When they ask those questions, especially when they're little, and they're not ready for those answers. You should never sit down with a 3-year-old when they go, "Where do babies come from?" and teach them about sex. That's not the right answer. That's not how you should do that. You can tell them, well, mom and daddy loves each other, and they come together and they make a baby and it grows in mama's belly. Most 3-year-olds are fine with that answer. You don't have to go into explicit details, and you should not. But eventually, they're going to need to know the truth. You tell them the truth. You be real with them. You let them know what it is to be and what it is to do. And that changes their perspective of you when you're always honest. "Hey, Dad, have you ever drunk a beer?" "Yes, son, I have." "Hey, Mom, have you ever smoked pot?" She needs to be able to answer that question truthfully. You can't hide all those things once they get so old. You can't sweep it under the rug because they're not going to let it go. So you have to be real. You have to be open and honest with yourself and open and honest with them enough to tell them the truth. Your kids should look at you and look up to you, but it comes a time in life that they've got to understand that you are a person as well, that you are just a man, and that being a man, you've made mistakes, and that you're not perfect, and that being a man, there's going to be times that you are weak, and there's nothing wrong with that weakness, regardless of what people try to push on us. Every man has a weakness, and every man has times in their life where they are weak, where they're going to suffer with different things. We live in an age now that, the suicidal rate for men just keeps going up because of the way our society treats us. That we look at our life and we're sitting here, we're struggling and we're fighting to get by, and nobody cares about what we go through. They don't care about the stress that we endure. They don't care about the depression that sets in. They don't care about any of those things. And really, we're not given our just due anymore, and that's bad of me to say that, and people are going to take offense to it, but they shouldn't, because it's not that we're asking for anything. Men want to be respected, and that's it. I love my wife dearly, and there's one thing that I won't abide from her or my children, and that's disrespect. Do not be disrespectful to me. Show me a little honor as the head of the household, and not that my wife has ever been disrespectful to me or blatantly disrespectful, and most of my children have not. There's always going to be some times with young men that you'll have to correct them, but we need those things to understand those guidelines of who we are in life. I'm a father to my children first. My oldest daughter is married and moved on, and now she considers me as a valued friend, and I'm very thankful for that. And I got a good relationship with her husband. He's a very good man, and I'm very thankful for that. But a lot of that has to do with their choices in life. Have you taught your children to make good choices? That's being real. Make good choices. Teach them how to value their own thoughts, and be able to take those thoughts and break them down and weigh them of whether it's good or whether it's bad on a choice or a decision. Just because something looks good on the outside doesn't mean it's going to be good on the inside. And most of you are going to know this to be a fact already, but if you don't, look, if it seems too good to be true, it is. It's too good to be true. It's not going to work out. It's going to be false. It's going to be fake. It's going to be a lie. It's going to be a scam. All of those things is going to be something other than what you thought it was. And we don't need that in our life. We don't need that in our life at all, gentlemen. What we need is the love of a good woman, and we need to be able to raise our children. Now, if you don't have the love of a good woman, you know what? That happens, doesn't it, this day and age? Too many women are fickle, and they'll up and leave, and they'll run off, all because I'm not trying to be rude, but they're after money. They're looking for the next bigger, better deal. And you know what? Let them go. Don't chase them. Let them go. But if you have kids with them, you do everything you can and you fight for that child. That's your child. You get in there and you be the husband, the man, the father. You get in there and you be what you have to be to raise that baby, because a mama can't do it. We got all these grown men now that aren't men. They don't know how to be men. They don't act like men. I seen 2 kids the other day. Well, I shouldn't call them kids, as in their early 20s. And they was fighting because one of them was like, well, he disrespected me. Like, well, how'd he disrespect you? Oh, well, he didn't say excuse me when he walked by me. That's not disrespectful. I mean, it's common courtesy, I guess, but it's not disrespectful. And yet you're going to fight over this because you think you're owed this respect that he should stop and say, well, I'm sorry, excuse me, pardon me while I walk by. That's not the way the world's going to work. You know, I wished it was, and that we was all so polite and courteous, but it's not going to happen. But these men were coming to blows. They were ready to just throw down as hard as anything over absolutely nothing because they were raised by women. And women always talk that smack. And y'all know that. They're all yelling about how they're going to smack somebody and they're going to whoop somebody's rear end and all this stuff. But when it comes down to it, they ain't going to do nothing. They just all talk. Well, the problem is when you get into life and you've trained boys how to act like that, they're going to get hurt. Because they're going to come across the wrong man and they're going to start that mess and they're going to get knocked out. And that's what's going to happen. And we don't want that. We want our men to grow up to be men. Be a man. Be respectful. You know, what do, man? You walk by and they're like, hey, man, you disrespected me. You didn't say excuse me. Just turn around and tell them the honest truth. Be like, well, I'm sorry you're so fragile. My apologies. But excuse me as I walk by. And keep walking. Just walk on. Well, 9 times out of 10, they ain't going to chase you down. And if they do chase you down, they ain't really going to do nothing when they catch you. You know, I know we went through that little habit where so many of our young boys was wanting to run up and smack old people. I can tell you where I live, that didn't go on because they'd have got hurt. Most of the old men I know around here are veterans. And most of them, they can take a good wallop on the head and they're going to turn around and do some fighting. And it just didn't happen. Our young men knew better. Don't jump on people like that. It's a bad idea. But again, be the man. You raise your boys. Teach them, train them, direct them, guide them, love them, and make sure that no matter whether it's in correction, whether it's an exhortation, whether it's, building them up, everything you do, you make sure that boy knows first and foremost that you love them with everything that you have, that they are a part of you and that your heart goes out to them in every single thing. And then teach them in love. Let your boy know you're not going to be me. I'm not you. You're not me. We're two different people. But teach them what you can. Teach them everything you can, because mama cannot teach a boy to be a man. Gentlemen, you can't teach a girl to be a lady. You can't. We're going to spoil them. That's the daddy's problem, is we spoil our girls. That's what we do. We take them and we love them. We call them our princess. We bounce them on our knee, and they get hurt. We're there to make sure they're all right. Somebody threatened our baby, and it's World War X. And, we take care of our girls, but we can't teach them to be ladies. That's mama's job. That's what mama does, or what mama's supposed to do. The problem is we ain't got no mamas left that are ladies. Almost all of them out there. I'm sorry, gentlemen, I'm going to be honest with you, and don't take this the wrong way. You come up to a lady and she's already got 6 kids and she ain't married and all them kids are by a different baby daddy, don't talk to her. Go a different way. Don't be baby daddy number 7. Don't do that. Go somewhere else. Be real about it. You don't need to be another paycheck to a woman, and that's what they see you as. Don't do it. Go a different way. Take a different route. Go a different way. Be real. Be like, no, thank you. I don't care how pretty you think she is. Go somewhere else. Because if you can't control yourself, your boys are definitely not going to control their self. And we need to understand that. I know we live in an age where everybody's all about this self-gratification. Everybody's just in it to get what they want. You better teach your children, especially your boys, you ain't ready to be a daddy. You are not ready for the financial responsibility of a child. You are not ready to raise one, teach one, rear one, guide one, direct one. You ain't ready. So learn to abstain from women until you are ready for that choice. And I know that offends a lot of people, and I don't know why it offends so many people, but it does. Well, you know what? I'm not going to pay for my grandchildren. Why should I? They're not my kids. I mean, I love them. When they come, I'll help out the best I can. But I'm not raising my girls to run off and spread their legs for everybody they find. And I'm not raising my boys to stick his little tallywhacker into every hole he finds. That's not the way this thing works. But so many times people do not teach people. We're not being real with them of the consequences. Being real with them of the rewards of our life. And gentlemen, we should. Now, I'm not trying to be too personal with you, and I'm definitely not trying to be mean to you. I'm not trying to sass you or anything else. I'm just trying to tell you, if we want to make better men, and we can, and we do, and we should, then we're going to have to roll our sleeves up, and we're going to have to do it right. And that's hard work. That means when we come home tired from work, we got time for them, to answer questions, to teach them every day something. You have a lifetime of experience. Your child does not. You can teach them something every single day. And I think we should. So let's be real with our children. Let's show them that love. Let's teach them everything we can teach them while we have them. Because if we don't, then where are they going to get their education from? Where are they going to learn what it means to be a man and to give it everything you've got and to do everything you can do? Those are questions we have to ask. So how real are you being, gentlemen? You better be the real deal. And you better bring it. And you better do it with all of your heart. Because nobody else is going to raise your child that way. Just you. I want you to think about that. Till next time, I'm Mo Red. And I'll see you then.